camera is. Is it isometric? Is it third person? Is it first person? Is it top down? All of that plays into how I respond to that. How do I provide you with visual targets or scrap? I would say, okay, well, what are we building? And you would say, okay, it's an isometric scroller, okay? Then I would say, all right, let's sit down, let's look at what's out there currently. So you would provide me screenshots, links to YouTube video capture, yeah, anything relevant to that. Kurt, I kind of like this. I like what these guys did with this product. And we start from there. So it's anything that helps me understand what you see in your mind. It could be a movie. It could be a race sequence from the movie Cars. I like this camera perspective as the track is coming at you, and it's this desert, this cartoony desert in the Southwest. I want to build a race game based on Cars or whatever, something like that. Right. Okay, so it could be anything. It could be magazine clippings that we literally walk back to your board here and we just start pinning it up on the metal board. It can be this dry erase board that we just sit here, we pick up markers and we just start scribbling. And maybe you as a designer, you're just using geometric shapes to represent. Let the artist take it from there. And you could say, okay, I've got a quick flash mock-up of just geometric shapes. And the guy who is orange represents the bad guys. Or actually, typically, just so you know, hey, dude, you need some more markers.
I have a bag of markers. I'll go get them.
Yeah,
typically, what I've seen most designers do is represent bad guys with this shape. Because it's pointy. It's sharp. It's sinister. This is your chubby cohort. This is your hero. Whatever language you want to use,
Right.
stick to it and evangelize this iconography so that when your devs and the other artists and the other design guys, we sit down and talk, we know what that means.
Right.
Do you mind if I ask your name?
I can.
Okay, guys, so when Kevin produces a Visio chart, because we use, I forgot to mention that, but with design, we use Visio all the time. Do you guys use Visio? UI designer?
No, I haven't.
Really? Highly recommend it. Do you know what Visio is? Anybody?
How do you spell that?
VISIO. It's a Microsoft product. Pitch.
Oh, that's the project plan stuff,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. So Kevin, I want you to become a whiz at Visio. Can I ask your name?
It's Robert.
Robert, I want you to become a whiz at Visio. Visio is what I use for brainstorming. So you have, Kevin, you have your X. Guys, this is what we're building. In Visio, you literally can produce mind mapping charts.
Flow charts.
Yep.
I see.
And it's the way we visualize how we're thinking about the product. So here's our X. This is what we're all about. This is what we're all excited about. We're building a race game. Okay, over here, I've got my graphics guys. Here, I've got my character guys. And so on and so forth. And Kevin, you might map right off of your X 7 boxes that represent missions, that represent levels. And so as a team, thank you, as a team we start to visualize what's between your ears. Okay, and this helps us a lot because we start to see the flow of the game as well. UI guys, you're already ahead of me on this, aren't you? You've got your loading sequence, your loading screens. You've got this and this and this. And Kevin, as the designer, you're going to work with Robert and you're going to say, if I press this button, I go to this screen. If I press this button, this is the button. Robert, we load that screen. Okay, artists, you're going to be looking at this as well, because this is what you're going to go and build. A producer is going to come to you and they're going to say, okay guys, here's the list. we have 7 screens that Robert needs art for. So we get the artists together and we say, all right, designers, sit down with the artist, make sure that this is what you had in mind. The art gets approved by the art director. The art goes to you as an asset. Are you coding as well?
Yeah, I'm coding.
Great. So you're assembling as well. So you're doing Flash as well as code. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Learn Visio. It's a great tool. There are others as well. I think there's a product called MindMapper.
Yeah, I've used MindMapper before.
I use it too. So anything that you can do to help the rest of us understand what's here.
Okay,
And then we go from there.
awesome.
Okay? Other questions? Was that helpful this morning? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about doing backflips across the front of the auditorium just to keep your attention, but it seemed like we got through it okay. So, okay, MC.
Okay, is that it for now?
He called you MC?
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Oh, okay.
Brothers have to bleed together before you can do that.
That
And,
sounds like an
and he and I have
story.
definitely bled together.
Oh, yeah.
From Nerf
This
guns.
is during those Nerf wars, right?
Yes.
Well, it wasn't only that. There were all-nighters and
Oh my gosh.
to work on something all night and then take it up to your producer and he goes, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to use that in our presentation."
Yeah. You bet. Oh.
Yeah.
You guys didn't ask any of those questions. Like the real stuff. Like in the trenches, what's it really like?
In the trenches, what's
Well.
it really like?
How often do you guys get to work all night long here? Are they allowed in the lab all night?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, you have to. We don't have all night. Typically, things close at 9, but a lot of people, like Kevin and some of the other ones in here, Damon, sign up as lab people to stay in here, and if there's a lab person in here, they're allowed to stay
You
in.
get a
Well,
permission slip
yeah.
from their mama. and
Like,
all.
well,
Okay.
last night we both ended up leaving somewhere around midnight. I think it was.
So you're already getting acquainted. You will give blood.
My fingers are already blistered.
Yep. In this industry, you will give blood. Divorce rate. I'm surprised no one asked about that. Divorce rate is high in this industry. I highly recommend that if you're not married yet, find someone to marry that understands what you're doing. Because
Marry an animator.
marry an animator.